Welcome to Tough Talk. Join the conversation with Kiwi men as they tell their stories and talk about what they do for me time, what it takes to be tough on the inside, and how to be a good mate. Kia ora, Sass.
Kia ora, Sam. It's good to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much for showing me around and offering that kai moana earlier. It's delicious.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're really lucky here. We've got access to loads of fish, and we've got loads of cockles that you can get at the bay. So me and my son Finn went down this morning to get some yummy food. It's quite good. It was nice to smoke it and share it with you. Yeah.
So I was wondering if we could start off by just hearing a little bit about your story.
I'm originally from England, in case you hadn't picked up on that. I come from the Manchester area. I actually come from a place called Oldham, which officially is the most socially deprived part of England. But I kind of thought that was good character building kind of stuff. And my father was unemployed a lot when I was a kid. So it was quite often hard to make ends meet, but I don't think it ever stopped me having a good childhood. My mother used to foster children with an intellectual disability, so I kind of grew up in the first place having kids around me and children around me who quite often have these disabilities, physical and intellectual and mental health kind of issues. When I was a little bit older, I went on to do my nurse training. I think I was always a little bit anxious, just in my situation, in social situations, and I found kind of alcohol kind of useful for dealing with kind of those social kind of situations I might go into. Yeah. But I also grew up in the late 80s and early 90s when the rave culture was beginning to become quite massive in the UK. So myself and couple of my friends set up our own sound system, and we used to do like all-nighter parties and like raves like around the area, and I think at the time I was enjoying that kind of culture, but behind it I was still suffering a little bit from anxiety, and I didn't know it at the time, probably even I was anxious, that I was suffering with low mood at times. Yeah, so I've kind of I think I've spent approximately 16 years in New Zealand now, and I'm going to go a bit forward into time now and just talk about maybe the last maybe 5 years, where I think I realised that I was using a lot of alcohol on a daily basis and frequent use of cannabis, and I think that was the first signs looking back that things weren't going too well. For me, I had a very low mood. I was quite irritable, feeling quite angry at times, and realised that I probably did feel quite anxious in social situations. People who know me would see me as quite socially outgoing. I do performance art, and I perform on stage. I do poetry. But then there was always lots of alcohol around, and alcohol, I would say, is a major part of socialising in New Zealand. It's brought to the whānau table, to the family meals, it seemed quite normal to just keep on drinking, really. And
help you sort of hide the anxiety?
Yeah, and hiding really the anxiety that I kind of felt, and the low mood. You can just kind of block it out if you kind of drink quite a lot. So, yeah, I suppose really that's just a reflection that from helping other people and talking to people about what was happening, I was able to then evaluate my own life really and what I was doing. Yeah. So it's been quite an adventurous 5 years, and as I talk to you about this is perhaps the first time that I've spoke on film or to people I don't know about my own experiences and how that's really affected the work I do. I tend to have a lot of empathy for people who use alcohol and other drugs from my own experiences, and understand their story. sometimes it's hard for people to find somebody to be able to talk to about that stuff, where they feel they can trust them, or where they're not going to be condemned for things they've done. Yeah.
It is really hard. It's almost like we don't trust each other to open up. Like we're worried we might be shamed, or someone will judge us for it. But that's what we need. We need to actually talk about it and feel it together and connect over it.
Yeah, very much so. I think it's about having those relationships with people, and people who you know that you can talk to about this and open up. And for myself in Dunedin, I find that like men find it particularly difficult to open up about their emotions and their feelings, and how they kind of deal with these natural occurrences in life. Everybody has stresses in their life, and we will all feel down or anxious from these situations. Money issues, relationship breakdowns, grief and loss of loved ones, not feeling that you're beginning to fulfill yourself in the ways that you've promised yourself as a child you maybe do. But yeah, I think it's an issue with men though, because there's this staunch Kiwi kind of image, and it's the same image in Manchester. I'd hate to transgress it just to say it's a Dunedin phenomena. But I think men find it quite difficult to talk about those emotions. It's almost as if you're weak, or that you're not a man, or that you're not going to be able to provide for your family if you accept that you have these issues. And
I think it takes incredible courage to speak, and I can see that with you now, actually opening up in front of people, because it's easier to hide. It's easier to not talk, although it doesn't leave you feeling very good. Yeah,
very much so. And it's amazing. I've worked with so many men. This can be young men or older males, and they realise that there's actually strength in talking about stuff. And what's been really great is that people have become weller, if that's a word. I don't know. They've become more mentally stable. And then I've found that this group of males who I've worked with have been able to support other males and females going through the same issue. I'm a great believer in the peer support model. If you've got that lived experience, you can talk to other people about it and pass on your tips of the trade to staying well. And that can have this positive chain effect within a community. I still see people from week to week who it's a secret that I go and see them. You can't come today, my brother's come round, or my next door neighbour might pop round this morning and I don't want to have to explain who you are. He doesn't know anything about what's going on, which is a shame, because if he could talk to his neighbour or his brother, who he obviously knows well, that would be a more naturally occurring kind of phenomena.
It's actually available. I find it's so hard to get help in the mental health system. There's just limited number of people, limited funding, but there's always people around you, and it's just actually being able to make that step, reach out to them.
Yeah, very much so. So I know several people in Waitaki who suffer from psychosis, or have got a major depression, or suffer from anxiety, for example. And they've been able to chat to me and then other people and actually say, hey, we don't think this guy's doing well, we're going to go and see him, or this person's house has been damaged, we need to go and help them to set them up, and just check in with them. So this is quite beautiful as kind of a New Zealand example here, where people are quite mindful about each other. If that's not working, I think there's still a degree of fantastic support in the wider Otago area though. And I think the first approach you have to take is to go through your GP. Then if needed be, you can go on to primary health organisation and have up to 6 sessions with a trained counsellor or nurse or somebody who's there to offer you some supports and finding out what's wrong. Too many people see antidepressants as a little pill of golden sunshine, and that on its own will make you better. My own experience of antidepressants, I've been on them twice, for quite short periods of times. Once back in England for several weeks, But that was involved in a relationship breakdown. I don't know if really I needed them. I just needed to buckle down and realise that sometimes life is a bit shit.
Yeah,
I know, like, you can't get past that.
You really need to embrace it, I think, and actually just be with the fact that it's a bit shit.
Yeah, very much so. But more recently, in the last year, I took several weeks of antidepressants, and I had a plan of what I was going to do, that I was going to eat well, I was going to go for a long walk every day, that I wasn't going to work overtime, and that I was going to do more drawing and painting and music. And I used that time to kind of get into that kind of expression and what I needed to do. And I found that even after, I think it was maybe 4 weeks of taking them, 5 weeks, that actually I didn't need them anymore. It was just enough of a jolt to get me back into the place where I wanted to be. On a bigger scale, I think people who were mild to moderate kind of mental health presentations just feel that the systems aren't out there to approach them. They say, oh my God, it's been impossible to actually get to see somebody or get that support that they need.
But there are some ways in you're talking about. So it's, I mean, firstly, you can reach out in your community. You can go see your GP.
Yeah.
You say antidepressants can give you a little bit of a boost, but aren't really a long-term solution. And then also you can get referred through your GP to a primary health organisation to get some counselling. And I think from there it's just about working on yourself and talking to others about it, right?
Yeah, very much so. On a smaller scale, how are they going to make the bills pay, or how are they going to survive another week in the job that they hate? And it's good to pull back from that and not think about traumas or happenings from the past or what may happen tomorrow or next week, but just have time for now, for the here and now, and to look at that inquisitively, as if you're a small child.
I think curiosity plays a huge role in doing that, personally,
Very much so, but if you're depressed, I think you become less curious. You tend to have a general apathy about the way everything is in the world, and you just start to brush over everything and don't take any attention or detail of it. So you can become quite grey and hollow. It's like you become this empty vessel. And I think part of that recovery concept, and I believe strongly people can recover, is how do we start filling you as a vessel full of thoughts and feelings and dealing with the issues that have got you to where you are, really. So I have my own wellness recovery action plan, which I think is really important. When I learned about RAP plans about 5 years ago, and the first thing I did was do my own. I kind of thought, I found it was really, really important that if I was going to ask my clients to do it, that I should do one first.
It's the sort of thing we can help each other with. I know I do that. I write my purpose down and things I do for my well-being, and then I help other people do that, and it's simple, a simple thing to do.
Very, very much so. So, I mean, I believe strongly in the Te Whare Tapa Wha model, like a four-corner, model, where I think it's important to have that spiritual self. So I think if I use my music and my art, that's a really good way of creating my wairua. And I think connecting with whānau, not just in a Pākehā sense of whānau meaning family, but actually your local community, and sharing kai and experiences and working through issues as a group, being mindful of your mental state, and realising hinengaro, as I would say, and concentrating on your emotions and how they're affecting other ways you work, and how you can bring yourself into equilibrium and balance again. And tinana, I knew there was another domain there. I think it's important to look at your physical health. I suppose it's looking after yourself in more detail, making sure you're moving around, making sure you are eating well, eating cockles off the beach when you can do, a good iron source.
I think the thing that really impresses me about you is you're talking openly about it, and I think you're doing this to other people, and you know, and you're being honest. I can see you even as we're talking, sort of pausing and reflecting, and you know, just checking in with yourself that you are talking honestly. And
Yeah, very much so.
That's so important to talk about it and to be honest with ourselves, and with the people we're talking to.
Yeah. So yeah, I think even just sitting here talking to you now is just another stage of my own recovery, really, and chatting about it, more so knowing that it's been put onto film.
Well, thank you so much for being, you know, open and, you know, doing this, because I think it will be really valuable to other people who are trying to learn as well.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to do it. I think it's been quite helpful, really.
Thank you,
Nice
Seth.
one, man. Yeah.
Please, check my eyes.
Kia ora. If you like what you see, follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube or go to our website to sign up for email updates from me. Keep liking and sharing our videos to grow the movement. Peace.
As I wipe the slate clean, share